Ever experienced a moment that felt too strange to be real? A moment that felt like a glitch in the Matrix? Now you might be wondering what exactly a glitch in the Matrix means. It's a term inspired by the 1999 film The Matrix, where the protagonist lives in a simulated reality. In the context of our everyday lives, it refers to those seemingly inexplicable events that shake our understanding of reality. It's those moments when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, when the familiar suddenly feels alien. It's that eerie feeling when you swear you've lived a moment before, or when something impossible happens right before your eyes. These are the moments that challenge what we believe to be true about the world around us. Intrigued? Hold on tight as we delve into 4 mind-boggling stories from across the web, each involving a glitch in the
Town in the Hole. This story is by Inner_at5786. When I was a kid in the 1970s, I lived out in the boonies between Cleveland and Akron, Ohio. We had a large house sitting on several acres of land, most of it being heavily wooded. There was a large hill in the front yard, sloping downward away from the front of the house. One late November we had enough snow so that my brother and I could go sledding. I hopped onto my trusty flexible flyer runner sled and bolted down the hill. My brother was still at the top of the hill as I descended. After I came to a complete stop, I began to dig around for a mitten that fell off. I didn't dig far until I saw light peeking out from the ground, shining upward at me. I cleared away some more snow and couldn't believe what I saw. I could see daylight. Not only that, but I could see about 50 feet down and make out a couple of houses and a street all through an 8-inch hole that I dug in my front yard. There was apparently a whole neighborhood that I could see through. This hole, all below me through this tiny passage. This wasn't an area of the country with any mountains, cliffs or overhangs. No, this was a world that was somehow visible. In a place that should have been invisible, which was within 50 feet of dirt and rock, covered in snow. My brother then descends down the hill on his sled as I'm sitting there stunned. I turned away for an instant to look at him, then looked back. The world I'd discovered was now gone. I could now only see dormant grass underneath the snow that I had previously cleared away. The next day I slid down the hill again and looked in the same place for the mystery neighborhood, but I never saw it again. The only person I ever told is my wife, and it was many years later. She of course looked at me like I was nuts, and who could blame her? The Men in BLCK by Broken Eyes 2. Before reading my story, keep this in reduced field of view, and my right eye is missing its lens. And all my vision is 20/200, which to help you visualize what I see. Imagine the video quality of a home movie from the 60s on a Super 8 slightly blurred ANF, more so around the edges. About 4 years ago, I took the Metro in from the suburbs to Union Station in Chicago to see my transplant team at UIC. Train pulls into the station. I open up my seeing eye cane. I can't see the lower half of my sight and so can't see where my feet step, which is a twisted ankle in a pothole waiting to happen. Additionally, it signals to others my vision loss, which smooths out any difficulties, and I head out through the big ballroom. Put my sunglasses on, head to my exit where my bus stop is on the other side of the street. I get to my stop and mingle in with the crowd. I remember it was a pretty bright and somewhat warm day out, so I didn't take my sunglasses off and just waited for the bus to arrive. This is where the Matrix happened. As I'm standing at the stop kinda blankly looking forward, I notice a man step in front of my left field of view, about 3 inches ahead and looking in the same direction. I was looking at the back of his head, or to be more precise, I was looking at the government agent earbud he was wearing in his right ear, complete with agent sunglasses and business suit. He slowly looked to the right, the left, and then crossed the street. Very much like someone scanning for a target and didn't care if he was seen in return. I could tell he crosses the street and entered another crowd before I couldn't tell him apart from anyone else. A few minutes later my bus arrived and I got on and considered what I saw. 1. I saw an actual agent looking for red pills around Union Station. 2. I saw an FBI agent who, for whatever reason, was dressed like a businessman, with sunglasses and a wired earpiece, walking around Union Station. in a way that suggested something was happening. They didn't want the public to be aware of their presence. But this guy clearly didn't understand the idea of blending in regarding body language and street crossing. 3. I somehow wandered onto a hidden shoot for a street scene in Matrix. 4. I haven't seen the film yet, so no spoilers for me. 4. It was a crazy person cosplay as an agent, and I happened to spot him that day, an actual possibility given some people I've seen in and around Union before. That's my story. Granted, it's not a deja vu or a simulation breaker. And I even came up with rational explanations. But still, that whole thing had a vibe of unreality for me. The Day Before COVID by Bonnie and Clyde. 52. The day before COVID happened. And by the day before COVID happened, I mean the day before it was announced we would work from home indefinitely, 22 months ago. I was driving back from work one night, early March of 2020, and a snowstorm had hit. It was dark outside, and the roads were incredibly icy. I ended up spinning out on the highway and almost crashed into someone. A few minutes after that happened, my Apple CarPlay stopped working. I tried to change the song, but my phone was frozen, and I had to auto-reset it. It just turned off. I get home and try to power my phone back on, and nothing wouldn't power on. I end up going to sleep, waking up the next morning to a text from my boss, saying we would work from home that day due to COVID. Haven't been back to the office since, also no idea how my phone was at 100% and wasn't on the charger before I went back to sleep.
Matrix. Imagine having a friend who vanishes into thin air, only to reappear years later with no memory of the past. This is my story. It was the summer of 2020 when my friend, let's call him Jake, disappeared. We'd been inseparable since we were kids, so when he went missing, it was like a part of me vanished too. The authorities were involved, search parties were organized, but there was no trace of Jake anywhere. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The search was officially called off and Jake was declared missing, presumed dead. Life moved on, but there was always an emptiness, a Jake-shaped hole in my world. Fast forward to 4 years later, 2024. I was walking down the street when I saw a familiar face in the crowd. My heart skipped a beat. It was Jake. He looked the same, his smile, his eyes, everything. But there was a vacant look on his face, as if he didn't recognize me. I ran up to him, overwhelmed with joy and disbelief. But when I called his name, he looked at me blankly. He had no memory of me or the life he had led before his disappearance. The doctors called it retrograde amnesia. They said it could be due to trauma or a severe injury to the brain, but there was no evidence of either. Jake had just appeared out of nowhere with no memory of the past. It was as if he had stepped out of a portal from another dimension, a glitch in the Matrix. This story sparked a lot of discussion online. User TimeTraveler101 commented, "Wow, this is straight out of a sci-fi movie. Maybe Jake did travel through time or dimensions. Who knows what's really out there?" Another user, Skeptic42, had a different take. "Sounds like a classic case of amnesia to me. The brain is a complex organ, and there's so much we still don't understand about it." Believer in Miracles shared a similar story. "My aunt had a similar experience. She disappeared for 2 years and then reappeared with no memory of the past. We never found out what happened to her during those 2 years." User Matrix Glitch chimed in, "I've heard of instances where people have experienced time slips or glitches in reality. Maybe this is one of those cases." Each comment, each theory, added another layer to the mystery. Was it a medical anomaly, a time slip, or a glitch in the Matrix? We may never know. Jake is still struggling to piece together his lost memories, and I'm just grateful to have my friend back, even if he doesn't remember me. So, what do you make of this? What would you do if this happened to you? Would you believe that you'd experienced a glitch in the Matrix? Ever lost an item only for it to reappear in the most unexpected place? Imagine this. You have a favorite wristwatch. It's nothing fancy, just a simple, reliable timepiece that you've had for years. It's been with you through thick and thin, always ticking away faithfully on your wrist. Then one day, it disappears. You search high and low, but it's nowhere to be found. Days turn into weeks, then months. You eventually give up on ever finding your watch again. But then, one day, you find it. Not in your house, not in your car, but in a place it has no right to be, a place you've never been before. This is the story of the time-traveling watch. The watch's owner, let's call him John, was a man of routine. He woke up at the same time every day, ate the same breakfast, and left for work at the same hour. His watch was always on his wrist, a constant companion marking the passing of time. One morning, John woke up and reached for his watch, only to find it missing. He searched his entire house, retracing his steps from the previous day, but the watch was gone. John was puzzled, but eventually moved on, assuming he misplaced it somewhere. Fast forward a few months. John was on a business trip in a city several hundred miles away from home. After a long day of meetings, he decided to unwind with a stroll in a local park. As he was walking, something shiny caught his eye. There, lying on the ground, was his lost watch. John was dumbfounded. How did his watch end up hundreds of miles away from home, in a city he had never visited before? He picked it up and examined it. It was definitely his watch, no doubt about it. The scratches, the worn-out strap, everything was exactly as he remembered. Now let's look at some reactions from the online community. User Time Traveler 101 commented, "Wow, talk about a wild ride. Maybe the watch has a mind of its own and wanted to see the world." Next, Quantum Leap fan added, "This is some serious quantum entanglement stuff. Maybe the watch didn't travel through space, but through time." User Skeptical Sally chimed in with, "This is a classic case of confirmation bias. John probably saw a similar watch and convinced himself it was his." Finally, Matrix Believer stated, "This is a clear sign of a glitch in the Matrix. The watch was probably duplicated by the system and ended up in a random location." John's story is indeed intriguing. Did his watch really travel through time and space, or was it all a bizarre coincidence? We might never know the truth. But one thing is for sure. For John, the world became a little more mysterious, a little more magical. His ordinary watch turned into an artifact of wonder, a symbol of the unexplained phenomena that exist just beyond the edge of our understanding. Could this be a glitch in the Matrix or just a mind playing tricks? Whatever the answer may be, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is reality as we know it just an illusion, a carefully constructed simulation, or are there forces at play that we are yet to comprehend? Until we find the answers, all we can do is marvel at the mystery, the enigma that is our existence, and maybe, just maybe, keep an eye on our wristwatches. You never know when they might decide to take a trip of their own. What if you met someone who looks exactly like you, but isn't related to you in any way? Let's dive into our third chilling story of the day, the doppelganger incident. This tale comes from an ordinary person, just like you and me, who had an extraordinary and, quite frankly, a spine-chilling experience. Our protagonist, let's call him Jack, was out on an ordinary day doing ordinary things. He was at a local coffee shop, sipping his favorite mocha, when he saw him. A man who was an exact replica of himself, down to the same mole on his chin. Jack was frozen in disbelief. He had heard of lookalikes, but this was like looking into a mirror. Imagine his surprise and fear as he watched his doppelganger order the exact same mocha, sit at the very table he usually occupies, and even pull out the same book he was reading. Jack was in shock, but he decided to approach his lookalike, his curiosity overcoming his fear. As he approached the table, his doppelganger looked up, and for a moment both men were frozen, staring at each other in disbelief. But before Jack could say anything, his doppelganger stood up hastily, left the money on the table, and rushed out of the coffee shop. Jack was left standing there, utterly baffled. This incident shook Jack to his core, and he couldn't shake off the creepy feeling. He shared his story online, sparking a flurry of reactions. User Comment 1 said, "That's crazy. I'd freak out if I met my doppelganger. Maybe it's a sign, like in folklore, where seeing your double is an omen." User 2 Cents added, "This is beyond eerie. Could it be a glitch in the Matrix? Or maybe there's a parallel universe where another you exists and somehow the lines got crossed?" Meanwhile, User Skeptic Onboard questioned, "Are you sure it wasn't just a case of mistaken identity? Maybe you saw what you wanted to see." Finally, User I Want to Believe offered an alternate theory. What if it's a secret twin you never knew about? There have been cases of twins separated at birth who lead eerily similar lives. This incident left a deep impact on Jack, and he spent sleepless nights pondering over it. He even tried going back to the coffee shop at the same time, hoping to catch a glimpse of his doppelganger, but to no avail. As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, Jack slowly came to terms with the incident. He often wonders if he'll ever meet his doppelganger again, or if it was just a one-time glitch in the Matrix. The doppelganger incident is one of those stories that make you question reality. It's a reminder that life is full of mysteries, and sometimes we stumble upon experiences that challenge our understanding of the world. Is this a simple case of mistaken identity or a glitch in the matrix? We may never know, but one thing is for sure, stories like these keep our curiosity alive, making us question and explore the world beyond the ordinary. Stay tuned for our final bizarre story of the day, the phantom phone call. Ever received a phone call from someone who claimed they didn't call you? Well, this is the crux of our final tale today. A phantom phone call, a conversation that supposedly never happened. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's dive right in. Imagine a sunny day, just like any other. Our protagonist, let's call them Sam, was going about their day when their phone suddenly lit up. The caller ID showed a familiar name, a close friend, Alex. Sam picked up the call, and they had a conversation. Just a typical, everyday chat. They talked about their day, shared a few laughs, and then hung up. Nothing out of the ordinary. However, things took a strange turn when Sam later ran into Alex in person. Sam mentioned their phone conversation earlier, but Alex had a puzzled look on their face. Alex denied making the call. They even showed Sam their call log, and sure enough, there was no record of a call to Sam that day. Now isn't that strange? A phone call that Sam clearly remembers, but Alex has no recollection of, and no record of it on their phone. This story sparked a flurry of comments online. One user chimed in, "This has happened to me too. I had a conversation with my sister, but she swears she didn't call me. It's so weird." Another user shared, "I've heard of phone glitches, but this is next level. Maybe it's a signal from another universe." A third user offered a more technical explanation. "It could be a call spoofing issue. Scammers can make it appear as if someone else is calling you." Yet another user had a more eerie take. "Maybe it's a ghost using the phone lines. Spooky." But what could possibly explain this phantom phone call? Was it a phone glitch or something more mysterious? Was it a scammer using advanced technology to mess with Sam? Or was it something beyond our understanding? Was it a ghost trying to communicate, or was it, as some suggested, a signal from another universe? This mysterious phone call left Sam puzzled and a bit unsettled. However, they decided to shrug it off as a strange incident, a story to tell at parties to get a few gasps and laughs. But deep down, they couldn't shake off the feeling that there was something more to it, something unexplainable, something otherworldly. Whether you believe in glitches in the Matrix, supernatural phenomena, or just think it's all a bunch of coincidences and technical errors, you have to admit, stories like these make you question, make you wonder. They open up a world of possibilities that are both exciting and a little bit scary. So what's the verdict on our phantom phone call story? Was it just a technical glitch or a glitch in the Matrix? Was it a harmless prank, a scammer's trick, or a message from the other side? The truth is, we may never know. But what we do know is that the world is full of mysterious, unexplained phenomena. And sometimes these mysteries come to us in the most ordinary moments, like a phone call on a sunny day, turning our everyday lives into something a little more extraordinary. Was this a technical glitch or a glitch in the Matrix? As we wrap up our journey through the Matrix, remember, reality isn't always what it seems. We've tiptoed through tales of friends who vanish without a trace, watches that inexplicably travel through time, doppelgangers causing double takes, and phantom phone calls from the other side. Each of these stories challenges our perception of reality and serves as a reminder that sometimes life can feel like a glitch in the Matrix. We'd love to hear about your own experiences with these uncanny events. Maybe you've encountered a doppelganger or received a call from a disconnected line. Whatever your glitch, share your stories in the comments below. Help Weird Reddit 111 channel reach 1,000 subscribers. Huge thanks to our new subscribers and viewers. Your support is what keeps us exploring the unexplained and sharing these fascinating stories. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. Until next time, keep questioning reality.